It's kind of future-proofing and maintaining your quality of life, maintaining your vision, making sure that you're able to do everything you want to the best of your ability and potential to allow you to do the things you want to do from a quality of life aspect, to whether it be working as a business owner, whether it be enjoying time with your family, and whether it be socially playing sport and those kind of things. Like the eyes, vision is your most precious sense.
Hello and welcome to the Healthy Business Lab podcast, where we talk to amazing guests in the allied health and related wellness spaces to share their amazing learnings and insights in what they do and their business experience. And today I'm super excited to have Darran Yeow from Insightful Eye Care on the call today. Darran, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Craig. It's great to be here. I'm excited for our chat.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So as I was reviewing the notes of a chat that Darran and I had a little while ago, all the notes are about a lot of cool stuff that we're actually not going to talk about on this call. 100% recommend connecting with Darran, getting to know him and some of the cool things that he's done in both professional and hearing space. It's super, super cool. On that, I'd love for you to share your business, Insightful Eye Care, obviously in the optometry space. I'd love for you to share a bit about yourself and your business there.
Yeah, I suppose, look, for me, it started a long time ago in terms of just wanting to help people. I've always grown up with that yearning to make a difference and make an impact. Perhaps it was with the advent of my parents getting divorced when I was younger, and I suppose spent a lot of time reading books. And one of the books that really sort of impacted me was The Power of One. With that, by Bryce Courtney. I've always had the yearning to travel to Africa. You mentioned about volunteering. I spent a year in Africa doing volunteer optometry work. Growing up, knowing that I wanted to be in the health profession, knowing that I wanted to help people and make a difference in their lives. I didn't get into medicine. I was a medical reject, unfortunately, but wanted to maintain that health profession. So did optometry and have loved it ever since. The great thing about optometry is that, well, I'm biased naturally, but vision is the most important sense. I think most people would agree that, the biggest fear they have, apart from dying, is going blind. So with that, I had a few years, graduated from university, and then a couple of years of experience working in Port Lincoln in South Australia in a regional sort of town. I cut my teeth in optometry, learnt a lot. I think what you do in university pales into significance compared to the real world experience of working and seeing real patients and dealing with, day-to-day sort of things. So learnt a great deal for a couple of years and then traveled to Africa for a year doing volunteer optometry work in sort of Ghana, Kenya and Tanzania particularly. And then came back sort of fully inspired to change the world and continue on. And then got not stuck, but went into, reality is I had no money when I came back because I'd volunteered and survived on savings. So I had to work for a couple of years in Melbourne and then went out to regional areas, again, regional Victoria, for about 5 years. So I had sort of all up probably about sort of 8 to 10 years of experience before I decided I've traveled, I've done a lot within optometry. What's the next thing that I can do? How can I sort of challenge myself and how can I step up? And that was with business. I took over a practice in Dingley Village in Melbourne, about sort of 45 minutes southeast of Melbourne itself. And a well-established practice, been around for probably close to 30 years and, learnt, as you do, I sort of climbed the pinnacle, if you like, in terms of optometry, in terms of consulting and clinical work. But as most people know, business owners, when you run a business, it's a very different beast. It's a very different game. And for the first probably 12 months over, I was working ridiculous hours. I was getting into work at 8 o'clock. I was finishing at 10 to 11 p.m. every night. It was just, you don't know what you don't know, right? 100%. And you think you know what you're getting yourself into, but a bit like parenting almost, I think.
Yeah, very true. It is your little baby. A business 100% is your little baby. And I'd love to just jump in on that notion because you start to talk to one of the points we love to share here as far as one of the things that business owners don't do well at times is look after themselves, and especially in those early days. But again, we often go through phases and cycles of a place where we don't look after ourselves a bit. And what I love to get from our awesome guest here is, with the background in health and professions, and something to be mindful of is your expertise in looking after yourself and I love that you're on here talking about eye care, because there's something that I obviously wear glasses, and it's something that's very front of mind for me at the moment, in that I see a specialist every couple of years, but I haven't actually had prescription change for, I will share. It's been like 20 odd years, and it's like,
right,
that's going to be impacting me. And I saw that reaction on your face. You're like, yeah, Craig, slap on the finger. Haven't looked after my eyes potentially as good as you have. I'd love for you to share a bit of your background, your expertise and knowledge as to some of the things that could be impacting, and what I should potentially be doing, or other business owners out there, to look after themselves, especially with their eye care, that will actually have flow-on effects to their life and their business and those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think as clinicians first, most people know and very comfortable what we do clinically, but as a business owner, it's a different hat and different skill set. So when we get thrown in the deep end, we struggle. Most people, health professionals, are great clinicians, but not great business people. And so when you have a new skill, or you have to learn a lot, you throw yourself in and you tend to neglect yourself. You neglect your health, you neglect family. It's all encompassing business. I think from an eye care perspective, it's one of the things that I've battled with people throughout my career, I suppose, is most people put eye care right down the bottom of the list, unless they have an issue, unless there's something in their eye, there's a pain, or they have real issues from a vision perspective. Most people take their vision and their eyes for granted, unfortunately, because it's not exposed typically. It works. You don't have any pain. You don't feel anything. It does. People don't think about their vision and think about their eye health on a day-to-day basis at all. And it's very much down the bottom of the list, unless, like I said, you have issues with your vision, you're wearing glasses. From an eye care perspective, one thing that most optometrists are really big about is it's not just about your vision. It's not just about seeing, whether it's seeing things clearly in the distance, seeing, reading your phone, a book, computers. I mean, that's very important, obviously, and that's the function of the eyes. But equally, it's about the eye health as well. I'm glad that you said you're seeing an eye specialist at least, Craig, and whether you get your eyes tested.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with myself about that. And I think that came from, again, it was actually a visual thing, pterygiums, and therefore I delve into that and had a few things removed, and then it became aware of a condition, keratoconus, and that sort of stuff. And it's like, oh, okay. And being conscious of that for our kids now, it's like, oh, okay, because it is a hereditary thing. And again, being conscious of that, I know has been good for me, but even jumping on these call with you, he's like, yeah, no, I haven't been looking after the other side of the actual vision part. So I've probably done the eye health part probably pretty decent.
Which is rare. Right?
I've done it the odd way around.
You've done the other way around, which is great. I mean, that's fantastic that you are looking after the eye health aspects, which most people don't. Probably most people would say, oh, if I have a visual issue, then I get my eyes tested. Not every optometrist and clinician is the same in the approach that they take. So people typically associate glasses with an optometrist, and that's certainly an aspect of it. There's contact lenses, but I was talking about the eye health aspect of things equally. It's all encompassing. So from a vision perspective, obviously the whole purpose of the eyes is to help you see. It's to help you see clearly, but it's also to help you see comfortably. You might be able to see things, but are your eyes working overtime? Are they straining? Are they working as efficiently as they could? Is it making your eyes tired? Are you not operating or able to concentrate as effectively as you could? The detail that you get. I know that a lot of people now particularly are concerned about digital eye strain, for example, because we're all on screens, right? From school, from students, kids, they're on a device of some description, an iPad, a tablet, a computer, a phone. Obviously, adults throughout our working life, we're doing this remotely. So we're both looking at computers or laptops. And as with the advent of COVID and on remote learning and remote work, everyone's on some digital device bulk of the day for most people. So that aspect of things, but it's making sure that your eyes, obviously you're seeing really clearly, but not just for now, but also for the future as well. It's kind of future proofing and maintaining your quality of life, maintaining your vision, making sure that you're able to do everything you want to the best of your ability and potential to allow you to do the things you want to do from a quality of life aspect, to whether it be working as a business owner, whether it be enjoying time with your family, and whether it be socially playing sport and those kind of things. Like the eyes, vision is your most precious sense, right?
Yeah, you can see why you shared that at the top end. As far as your senses go, it is one of the ones that is right up there and people need it for day-to-day. But I love that. Absolutely. Again, future-proofing. I'm a big fan of future-proofing in so many things of aspects of business, which we'll get onto a little bit later as well. But I'd love for them to round that off with the aspect of any quick tweaks, obviously getting the checkups and probably asking the professionals and again, some optometrists, I'm guessing the same as I see people in certain accounting or financial spaces or the like, some will only do a certain aspect of it and not potentially mention, say, the eye health component. They might just say, we'll give you a prescription and off you go. So would that be one of the suggestions there, is to, number one, get an annual check, but also really ask about the eye health, all those other things that future-proof themselves.
Kicking it off, yeah. Absolutely, Craig. I mean, an annual checkup, people are kind of aware about going to the dentist every year, but not for an optometrist. As a minimum, it should be, depending on your age, I'd certainly recommend sort of up to 18, definitely annually, and then probably for anyone over 40 annually as well, just because they're from a 40 and onwards, the health aspect of the eyes and preserving your vision, making sure that you continue to be able to see clearly and comfortably for the rest of your life. Things like cataracts or glaucoma, degeneration, even things like diabetes that a lot of people may not be aware of, we can pick up by an eye test. Stroke prevention, those kind of things as well, that people may not associate with getting your eyes checked, but there's things, because we look at the back of the eyes, with the retina particularly is made up of lots of blood vessels. You can see a lot of things happening there that you might be unaware of. And there's many cases that we've had, for myself even, with picking up things with patients that they haven't been aware of. You go, maybe you should go get your blood test done.
Even just that little awareness of what you just shared then, it's like, oh yeah, kind of awareness of, oh, we should be doing that and all the rest of it, but it's what could be picked up with that. Having the diagnosis, it's often something that we're not aware of.
And unfortunately, Craig, I think men in particular probably take our health a little bit more for granted than women do. I guess a reminder to all those guys out there to put that front of mind as well, because you want to be able to maintain your lifestyle and your quality of life for as long as possible. And so getting an annual check is going to go a long way. Just putting your peace of mind. Even if you can see really well, it's not just about the vision, it's about the eye health as well.
Yeah, cool. And if I was to say that's awesome from an annual perspective, that's good. As business owners as well, throw it in your project management system, put it in an annual calendar appointment, whatever you need to do, make it at front of mind for that. So there's one takeaway out there, get it done. Absolutely. As far as even always a fan then of going, is there any other really small things that people can do for their eye health? And then he's kind of the exercise piece of mind kind of thing. Is there something little, especially if we're digital facing quite a bit when we're doing all the admin sort of stuff that we have to do, and we tend to do more and more of it as the business owner and a little bit less hands-on with our practice? What's a little exercises that people can do?
From a general health or preventative health aspect, I suppose, absolutely doing the things that you would do to keep yourself healthy and fit. Sleeping well, eating well, hydration is really important, because if you are dehydrated, your body doesn't work as well, the eyes won't work as well, focusing, concentration, that sort of thing won't be as good. From a screen perspective and digital strain and those kind of things, just having regular breaks from your screen, from your devices. The 20-20 rule of every 20 minutes, have a break for even 20 seconds and looking sort of something further away, because looking at something up close, whether it be a phone, a tablet or a computer, is going to make your eyes work harder. It's going to make your muscles work harder. Obviously, you're going to concentrate more. It's going to potentially fatigue your eyes, put a bit more strain, make your muscles fatigue. You're not going to blink as much, and therefore dry eyes becomes more of an issue, which is very common. People can complain about sore eyes, tired eyes, scratchy, gritty, those kind of things as well. Having a regular break. Good lighting is really important for everybody, and making sure you've got good even lighting when you're reading on computers or anything that you're doing where you're having to concentrate. And outdoor time, just for the children and parents in particular, outdoor time is really important, because the more time you're outside, for kids particularly, the more relaxed your eye muscles are, the better the development of your eyes. And then obviously the last one, when you are outside, is sunglasses. Because the other thing that people aren't aware of, yes, sunglasses, for a lot of people, it's a fashion statement, it makes you look cool, but the whole purpose of it is around UV protection. Because, Craig, what do you do when you go outside from a skin perspective?
You're putting sunscreen on in the high UV times of the day.
Yeah, so you put sunscreen on, and most people put a hat on, but you can't put sunscreen in your eyes, can you? Sunglasses is your form of protection from a UV perspective, to make sure both from kids, helping protect their eyes all the way through to adults, and in your later life, because it will help with prevention or reduction of cataracts, macular degeneration, and even skin cancer around your eyelids. A lot of people are unaware that it's very possible place where there's a higher risk of skin cancer as well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those items. And one of my little big takeaways, which is a nice segue into the next sort of section that we'll start delving into business and the like, but it's even that idea of getting outside for our eyes relaxes us. And one thing that we talk about constantly in business for business owners is doing things that look after the brain or the body to relax, because at the end of the day, if we can relax stuff, the body's in the prime position to make good decisions, do things, and just be in its space as to how the body needs to be. So thank you for sharing that. And I'd love to now sort of move into that sort of business side of things. Again, we started at the start of our chat where a pretty very interesting, there's great words from me, getting all muddled up, your evolution into business ownership. And we love to talk about experiments here at the Healthy Business Lab, things that you've learned, things you've tried, things that have worked, that haven't worked, things where you've pivoted, changed, and the like, that step into business ownership. We'd love to hear some of your experiences.
Yeah.
And a few sort of key takeaways that you've had along that.
Absolutely. I think you touched on the whole exercise and looking after. As a business owner, particularly as I was talking about the first few years, I was working ridiculous hours, 6 to 7 days a week, looking after yourself, both from a physical perspective. So, eating well, hydration is really important, but exercise, helping to keep your body healthy, keeps your mind healthy. And if you want to be a great business owner and a great clinician, health professional, you need to look after yourself. Number one, you need to look after yourself physically, but also mentally. The ability to be able to get away, go out, talk about going outside, getting outdoors, or whatever works for you to help you give you that time away from the business, just mentally even. For me, it was going running. I love running, and running for me, no music, but just with my own thoughts and kind of just being outside and getting fresh air and just allowing the body to just move from that perspective. I think the other sort of key takeaways for me was making sure that you've got really good systems. I think that has massive impact in terms of scalability. We've got one practice in Dingley Village, but we also have another practice in Richmond, which took over sort of 4 years later. And just going from one practice to a second practice. I think I'm a pretty good optometrist, and I know I do really well from a clinical perspective, but then making sure that you've got those processes in place to be able to run that and bring that across to another practice as well is really important. From a consistency perspective, you want to make sure that the patient experience, the customer journey, if you like, is really consistent across the board. And if you don't have really great systems and processes in place, and it's not documented really well, then it falls by the wayside a little bit. So I've found that has been really great from that perspective. And if you've got great systems and processes, and I think the other thing you need is great people. You can't have a wonderful business without amazing team. And I think holding on to firstly finding amazing people is always the hardest. In my 10 plus years of business, is having great people that have a similar ethos, similar ethics, but equally similar values in terms of what you want to achieve, if they're aligned with your vision and have similar goals to what they want to achieve in life and in their own careers. And it makes a massive difference, because then you've got not just yourself pushing forward, you've got a whole team behind you that are collectively moving in the same direction and wanting every day to achieve amazing things and to help people, but also be successful at the same time. So really important system and processes, but really great people. And great people, unfortunately, really hard to find, but we're really blessed that in Insightful Eye Care, we've got amazing team members that come to work driven, come to work passionate about helping people and really making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, nice. And I'd probably love to delve onto each of those a little bit and sort of ask a question around both of them. We'll start with the systems. I guess super curious how that process started for you. That whole systemization process can be, it's this, I've got to systemize, and it's this, it's like, it is a bigger than Ben-Hur sort of thing to undertake at times. So I'd be interested in how you started it, potentially some of maybe the false starts you had, and a couple of those things that you found that you tweaked or you changed that actually helped you just eventually get to that space where you are now to go, the system is what has enabled us to do what we've actually done.
Yeah, I think initially when I started, there was no thought about that. It was just like, okay, just try and keep your head afloat type of thing and just survive. It was just very much survival mode. And I've only really in the last few years started to really document those systems. We've done it very much verbally. It was almost hand me down from person to person to person, but not everyone is verbal. Not everyone's audio, and realize that you need to have things documented somewhere so people can read it and taught once, but then you need a reference point to go back to. What we have done is really document the process just through video. through video, recording, on your phone even, or on a laptop, and just recording everything you do as you're doing it. So I think a big takeaway when you first start out, and obviously when you start out is always the best way to do it rather than sort of 10 years later. If you can start as soon as you can, but just document what you're doing as you're doing it, so that therefore you can always record it. And these days with technology, you can send it to someone, they can type it out for you, record it. So you've got a video of it, so people can see what you're doing, and then they're recording the audio of it, so you can get it transcribed. Therefore, you've got it into a document as well at the same time. I think that's a really easy, quick way of doing it. So as you're going about starting your processes, then you document it as you go. And then over time, you can tweak it and go, okay, well, this is what we're doing at the moment. How can we go about changing it? Because if not everyone's doing it the same way, then how do you know what's working, what's not working? Whereas if everyone's consistently doing the same thing, then you go, okay, let's make this change now. Let's see how we go for the next 3 months. Let's review, audit, and then process and see what impact has it had on the business from a patient experience perspective, from a bottom line perspective, those kind of things. But if you're not consistently doing the same thing as a team, then it's very hard to analyze where you've gone wrong. What can you improve? What can you get better?
Yeah.
I think that's key as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And as you were talking, I just had to shuffle my mouse over to the side, because in front of me, I've got this sort of mouse pad that's, am I going to do this job again? Then create a system, that's from people that we're connected with, the systemology team, based upon the book Systemology with James Brown in Australia and the like. And I'm sort of curious as to, is there any sort of resources that you've tapped into from a creating systems point of view? It was just an evolution it was a little bit of trial and error, and it was that verbal, and then you just worked it out for yourself?
Yeah, it has been. I mean, a lot of it has just been talking to other business owners in reality, and just using and learning from other people. Like, that's what has worked for them and what hasn't worked for people. And I think obviously absolutely reading books, business books and whatnot, and getting learnings from other people. But I found what has been probably most profound for me is just hearing people's stories, journeys, something like yourself, like with the podcasts, those kind of things, and successful people, what they do. And then you try and implement that, and it may not be appropriate for your industry, but that's okay. But you got to try it, learn from it, and then tweak it so it is suitable for you, for what you do as well. The importance of trying something. You can theoretically do as much as you want in your head on paper, but until you put it into action, you're never really going to know. And so I think as a business owner, just being not afraid to fail and not afraid to try, because every time, we have a saying at home, every time you try and you fail, you learn, right? And as you learn, you grow. So you can keep iterating and improving that system, or whatever process that you're doing, or anything you do from a business perspective, personally as well, always wanting to grow and learn. I think the third thing I want to touch on just real quick, Craig, was as a business owner, just working on yourself, like investing in yourself. It's so underestimated, and I always thought, I guess, a fairly intelligent, smart kid growing up, everyone told me that I was smart. I never thought I really needed to work on myself. But until you really start to delve in, I'm talking about sort of more personal development and just learning all the time. If you start doing that, then being a business owner where you are challenged and you have tough times and you have difficult cases or team members or what, you can go into a really dark place, and you can really sort of, that can really weigh on you. And I think having the ability to talk to someone, whether a business coach or a mentor or something like that, or just a colleague, connections or networks where other people can sort of share their own experiences with you, but also where you have the ability to continue to evolve and grow for yourself and your mindset, so that you are in a better place. We talked about physical fitness, but also mental, being in a really strong place, because you will find you'll have challenges as a business owner or in life, and you need to be in a good headspace to be able to manage that, because you're the leader and you need to be able to lead your team. And if you're not in a good headspace, then it's not a great experience for your team as well. Personal development is hugely underrated.
Yeah, there's so many key takeaways from what you just shared across that. And I will go back and dot point. I just sort of want to reiterate some of these, because, again, I've got a page full of things here that off the back of these just contemplate with. And it was straight away, always that talking to others. At the end of the day, you're 100% right. That is the purpose of this, to be able to share your amazing stories and be able to hear these and take little key things away that will work for some, may not work for others. But even the simplicity of try, learn, tweak. That simple action of mentality, it's just different words than we use. We use around the experimentation and those sorts of things, but it's exactly the same idea. And I love even just try equals action. It is. I think over the back here, you can't see behind the microphone here, a little Yoda thing sitting there that is do or not do. There is no try. And it's kind of that, well, what try equals action, and it is do or not do. And as a business owner doing that, it builds that muscle to be able to do that. And I can't agree more on the working on self. And I can't remember who I heard the quote from, but it was kind of that notion idea to 10x your business, you need to 50x yourself. It's kind of along that mentality that
Absolutely.
Your business can only grow as big as what you've created around for yourself.
Yeah.
And so I love your sharing in that space. I do also want to go back to that people side of thing. You've touched upon the people side of things and growing the team, the importance of culture and the like. And again, experiments in that space, no doubt. You went through evolutions of how you recruited, how you found people, how you then retained people. I'd love to hear any couple of little learnings or takeaways that you've had in that space, because it is especially if you're growing in the premises, you need multiple people. You need people to be able to be self-sufficient, and you can't be in both places or multiple locations. How have you found that evolution and experimenting and bringing on team members and retaining?
It has been an absolute journey, Craig, and continuing to learn. I suppose that majority of my role these days is really dealing with people and managing people. You can't have a successful business without great people, but the evolution of the way that we've interviewed as a starting point. And initially it was quite based on more a corporate sort of setting where we, very sit down, very formal, to now it's evolved to more just conversational and just getting to know people. I think there's a great book by Jack Welch, very successful leader and manager of GE. He says even he, still gets 50% of the time right, because you just don't know until people start working, until you can interview. And people can, these days can prepare really well for interviews, and a lot of people interview really well. But until you see how someone operates and really works and works with your team as well, then you won't really know whether they're going to be a great fit. So you do your best and you keep evolving and tweaking your interview process. You try, I think, to get to the values of a person. I think if the values are aligned with a great attitude, I've learned through reality, I think you can't teach a great attitude. So skills can be taught, but if the person has the aptitude and the attitude to want to learn, to grow, and to better themselves, and you've created an environment where that is where people can thrive and grow, then that's going to be a great place for people to work, where people can enjoy coming to work because they're fulfilled from a work perspective, career perspective. But equally, if you're able to create a great culture where people are kicking goals outside of work as well and want everyone to achieve things in their life for themselves as well, I think that's really important, because we all want to continue to evolve and grow as a business, but as individuals and as a team. And that just makes a great work environment.
Yeah, that's so refreshing. And again, it is looking at the holistic approach, similar to what you've talked about with what you actually do for people and clients, is your holistic look of the immediacy and then the long-term health and those sorts of things. You can see how that flows through your business and the attitude and that culture to go, hey, we're looking at human beings here as our team members, and they are a whole, and what they bring to work is their whole picture, which also then ties into that. If we can help them 50 times themselves, they're going to 10x what they do in the business and what they do for us and our clients, and the outcomes that we get for our clients, which is absolutely brilliant. And coming up to where we're talking around the time we normally have here for a podcast, but I'd love to round off with that idea of the outcomes that you get as well. I'd love to hear just a bit of an insight for a case study or two of people that have come to you with challenges or not having seen you for a long time, similar to what I talked about there, and then going, whoa, what we've been able to achieve with people and get outcomes for them.
Craig, two probably quick stories that comes to mind. So one, just more from a PSA. I had a lady who was a young lady, maybe 30 years old at the time. She was getting headaches for about a month or so. Went to the GP, and GP checked her out, said, she probably maybe stress, take some Panadol, you'll be right, kind of thing. She was getting headaches still continually. She came in for an eye test thinking her mum suggested to get her eyes tested to see maybe the eyes could be related to the headaches. So I had a look at her eyes, had a check, and saw at the back of her eyes that her optic nerve, so the connection of basically the brain and the eye, was really swollen, and sent her off to the ophthalmologist. The ophthalmologist had a look, sent her to the hospital, because basically what had happened, she had a tumor that was growing and pressing against her optic nerve and was causing her headaches. So it's about the size of a mandarin, essentially. I think it was about 7.3 centimeters big. She had moved the next day. Saw me thinking, oh, I just need some glasses to fix up my headaches, and then ended up in hospital, had surgery the next day. And that's just, I guess, a shout out to just, you never know, and just getting a checkup could just, save your life. So that's one aspect, I suppose, where please just get your eyes tested just in case, even if visually everything is okay. The second one probably is more just from a lifestyle perspective, and had a child who was quite probably less self-assured, less confident, struggling with just seeing the board. She was about, I think, 10 at the time, bit introverted, came in, got her eyes tested, realized that she's short-sighted, which basically means she can't see things very well further away. Ended up getting glasses, but she wasn't, hugely keen on glasses, put her into contact lenses. And then from there, just the confidence grew, self-assuredness, and just the ability to be able to do things, see things clearly, number one, but also be free of glasses or without having any issues. She started doing ballet, started becoming more of a leader in her school, in her class, and just seeing someone from where they started to being so much more confident in themselves, more self-assured, and just being able to live a much better life and being a better version of themselves. It's something that we don't often think about as an optometrist. Just a simple, glasses or contact lenses or just improve their quality of life just changes their state, changes their mind about who they are and their self-confidence. And that just spawns and just helps people grow. So I think there's many cases obviously like that we get to do and see from a day-to-day perspective, which we don't often think about. But when you look back and the people that you've helped, sometimes it's a little thing that you might be able to do, or a big thing like picking up a tumor, but you can impact someone's life and their trajectory of what they do. So just the last thing I think also, Craig, is there's something called orthokeratology, which we do quite a lot at Insightful Eye Care, which is around helping particularly children be free of glasses. There's a contact lens that you can wear at night time, a bit like braces for your eyes, that helps reshape your eye while you're asleep. You wake up in the morning and you don't have to wear glasses, don't have to wear contact lenses throughout the day. And so therefore, again, same thing from a lifestyle perspective. You can go swimming, you can exercise, you can see really clearly, and you're not having to wear anything throughout the day, which a lot of children love because they get to feel and wake up like a normal person, see like a normal person, and be able to do everything they want to do freely and comfortably. I mean, there's many things that we can do as optometrists. Those things come to mind in terms of the ability to be able to really transform someone's life and, again, change the way that they see themselves.
That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for those shares. And again, the two great case study examples of the differing, the immediacy versus just that longer term. And again, I was getting goosebumps and getting the feel. And the thing that struck me again was the confidence. If we're giving people confidence, that has the possibility, and the ripple effect of that is just obviously phenomenal. It's got me with the feel goods, and it's also got me super keen to make sure that I can talk to myself and my wife out there. And again, on our list, he has been to get the checkups for the eyes. And I don't know, through the schools, they're starting to do some stuff through here in New South Wales as well. So he's like, yeah, let's get that on the front and center into a project management system, because we run our life through there as well.
Of course.
We'll definitely be adding those to the annual doctors, dentists, and all those sorts of things. So it's been so good having you on this call, sharing your experiences and bringing into that those outcomes that you're getting. Again, that's what we're all about here at the Healthy Business Lab, is really, and purpose of the podcast is to highlight those things that we want to have more amazing allied health businesses getting these outcomes, and therefore they need to be healthy, sustainable, profitable types of businesses as well. And sharing these stories hopefully adds a little bit to that. And I know that you've done that across both what you do in your practice there, but also those business insights that you shared. So I do really appreciate you joining us and sharing those today, Darran.
Thanks so much, Craig. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
And again, I could keep talking. We could keep talking for hours. I've got a feeling next time I'm down Melbourne way, we'll definitely I'll reach out. But if people do want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to find you and connect?
Yeah, probably easiest on Instagram. It's Darran Yeow, so it's DARRANYEOW. Just look me up on Instagram, just message me, and love to hear your journey, your story, whether it be through business, whether it be optometry related, or just personal development, anything that I can help you with. You just want to help inspire other people just to create ripple effect, as you talked about, and make this world a better place.
I love that. Love that so much. And we'll obviously add those details into the show notes so that people can connect easily from here. That's all from us here at the Healthy Business Lab podcast today. And till next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Darran.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Business Lab podcast. Make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with all the latest episodes.